We have been sold this idea that your desire, your libido, your drive for sex should just show up out of nowhere like magic, that it should hit you like a steaming lightning bolt, even when your body's fried and you haven't had a moment to yourself all day and someone just wiped peanut butter on your jeans. So, when you don't feel horny out of nowhere, when you don't respond to your partner's butt brush with tingling excitement, you wonder, is something wrong with me? Or is something wrong with him? Or is something wrong with us? Clearly, we're not attracted to each other. We don't want each other anymore.
Welcome to the Sex After Kids podcast, a place for parents to come and learn together about the sometimes bumpy road back into the saddle of their sex life after adoption, childbirth, or joining a blended family. I am your host, Sophia Ashley, certified sex educator and sex coach, mother and stepmother, and your totally TMI guide to becoming BFFs with your body and initiating easy, connected, and confident, naked, sexy fun times. Here we are, one part science of sex, one part mindfulness magic, and one part straight up real talk to help you find the spark in your relationship and yourself after kids. I am so glad you are here.
Hey, folks, welcome back to the Sex After Kids podcast. Today, we are talking about the patriarchy and how it is messing with your bedroom. A bit of a vagina owner's version and a penis owner's version. Cause here's the deal. Most of the challenges that you are having in the bedroom come from systemic issues, challenges. It is by design. It is by design by a world that doesn't want you connected to your body, doesn't want you connected to your pleasure, doesn't want you connected to your rest. And the flavor of that looks different whether you're in a male or a female body, but it all adds up to mediocre sex. So let's talk about why this is happening, how this is happening, and what we can kind of reframe and flip on its head so that we can have easy, fun, spontaneous, yummy, naked, sexy, fun times. This episode is for you and your partner, whether you are the higher libido or lower libido one, the more shut down or the more frustrated one. Let's face it, you're both frustrated. These patterns run deep in all of us, and most of them we did not choose, we inherited them. So today we're going to unpack the 3 messages that women or female bodies are taught that crush desire, the 3 beliefs that men or male bodies absorb that create pressure, shame, and shutdown, how these beliefs sneak into our bedrooms, and how to start unlearning them. Let's get into it. A drum roll, please. I'm in a spicy mood today. Lie number 1 that you have been taught is desire is either spontaneous or broken. And I would actually argue that a lot of these are relevant to everyone because most people actually have what we call responsive desire. We'll do a whole other podcast episode on that. But we have been sold this idea that your desire, your libido, your drive for sex should just show up out of nowhere like magic, that it should hit you like a steaming lightning bolt, even when your body's fried and you haven't had a moment to yourself all day and someone just wiped peanut butter on your jeans. So, when you don't feel horny out of nowhere, when you don't respond to your partner's butt brush with tingling excitement, you wonder, is something wrong with me? Or is something wrong with him? Or is something wrong with us? Clearly, we're not attracted to each other. We don't want each other anymore. Hella nope. What you are feeling is responsive desire, desire that needs an invitation and then the right environment, safety and space, and a little warm up time to show up to the party. I want you to think instead of what if, instead of waiting for sex, you create the right conditions for it to show up, right? What if you downshift your nervous system so that it can actually be open to saying yes? What if you create an environment where you feel more sexy, more connected to your partner, more relaxed, and more present in the moment because you have control over all of those things? And when you do that, you can invite your libido to the party. Desire does not have to be instant to be real. And if it's not instant, something is not wrong with you. You are not broken, okay? Most people, even men experience responsive desire, which means we need an invitation and the right environment. So if you're waiting to want sex before doing anything sexy, you might be waiting for forever. And instead, what I want you to learn is how to create the conditions for your libido to show up to the party. And that's exactly what we do when people work with me. Myth number 2, my friends, be pleasing, not pleased. So, from girlhood in particular, women are trained to accommodate. We are trained to smile, to be nice, don't make it awkward in bed, that pleasure is for the other person. Our job is to be pleasing to the eye, to be attractive, and to offer pleasure to our partner. Make sure that he finishes, don't ask for too much, don't take too long. Your pleasure's too complicated. It requires a 5-star airplane, Boeing 747 manual, and that's just not worth it. And well, what does that mean? It means we get duty sex. It means we get faking orgasms. It means we never really get to explore what actually feels good because we don't know our body, because we don't spend any fucking time masturbating or mapping our own pleasure. And when we get to that place over time, over multiple partners, over years of our lives, even if we are with the most loving, supportive, amazing partner ever, your body checks out of sex. You might intellectually want it, but your body goes, this is not a safe or fun or worthwhile place for me to be because I don't matter in this situation. So, how do we reframe this? What if being pleased is the most generous thing that you can bring to bed? What if your pleasure isn't extra, it's essential to everyone having a good time? Right? Because deep down, your partner doesn't actually enjoy it when you're doing it just for him. He really doesn't. Not if it's on the regular, okay? When you are enjoying yourself, it is actually easier for your partner to relax and to connect and to enjoy too. Because when they feel confident you're having a good time, then they can relax into their good time. If they're constantly doubting whether or not you're having a good time, they can't be relaxing into their own good time. Okay. Your desire deepens intimacy, it does not distract from it. Your pleasure matters. Matters to your well-being, it matters to your physical health, and it matters to the health of your relationship. So you get to invest in it and recalibrate, I guess, your relationship to it. All right. Third myth, sex equals love. So we often hear things like, if you really love him, you'll have sex, you'll offer your body, you'll contribute your body to this. If you're not having sex, you must not love him, or you must not love each other, or you must not desire him, or you must not be attracted to him. That is the message, but it's backwards. Sometimes you love someone so much that your nervous system is overwhelmed. Or when you're exhausted in parenthood and on overdrive, your body doesn't feel safe enough to show your love in that way. It doesn't mean you don't love your partner. It means your body needs support to be able to access that one form of love, right? Sex is one way of showing our love. Sex is one way of experiencing love. And I'd almost argue this myth is that we conflate desirability with sex. If I'm not sexually desirable to my partner, then I'm not desirable, period, to my partner. And I hear this from men in particular a lot. What if real love gives room to say no? Yeah, so that your yes actually means something. What if love, true love, is not pushing through discomfort, but creating the safety to be honest? What if vulnerability is actually at the heart of connection? What if true intimacy is being able to go to Home Hardware on a Saturday afternoon without the kids and just have an absolute fucking blast with each other? We need to reframe what intimacy means and how we measure how we feel love in our relationship. If sex and how much of it we're having is our only measure for how much love we feel, we've got to broaden our toolkit, because otherwise we're putting pressure on this one thing to show us that we're loved. And if our partner can't give us that thing anymore for whatever reason, a cancer diagnosis, a parent dying, baby happening, menopause, perimenopause, then we are going to create a situation where we feel unloved when we are absolutely loved. All right, we've got 3 more myths left. These ones are centered a little bit more around penis owners, but honestly, there's nuggets of truth here for everybody. So, myth number 4, if she doesn't want you, then you're failing. So when she says no, it's no, just a no. But it feels like a gut punch sometimes because the patriarchy's told men that their worth is tied to how wanted they are, that a partner's desire for them, particularly their sexual desire for them, is proof that they are desirable, that they are strong, that they are doing something right. But her libido, your partner's libido, is not a report card on your desirability. It is not your feedback loop on how much she or they love you. Okay. Her no is not always about your worth. It can be a signal of what is happening in the relationship, but it's often more about your partner's bandwidth. What if the rejection that you are fearing or hearing isn't actually rejection at all? It is information about how safe or how tired or how seen she is feeling within your relationship or in that moment. What if, when your partner's body says not now, it isn't a threat to your masculinity? It isn't a threat to your alpha status as an amazing lover. It is an invitation to connect differently with different tools. Something to ponder, my friends. Myth number 5, you are entitled to sex to feel connected. Put differently, we often say women need to feel emotionally connected to want sex, and men need sex to feel emotionally connected. And both of those things are just bunk. We feel that way because we've been taught that because it's the only pattern we live, but we can live a whole different array of patterns here. We teach men that physical touch is their only path to emotional intimacy. And then we shame them for needing it or feeling like they desperately need it, right? And this creates entitlement as well as disconnection all at once. When sex becomes the only available route to closeness or the only strategy that someone has to get close, it puts pressure on everyone involved. And it turns sex into a need to be met rather than a place that you go together and this experience that you share. Okay, I need you to reframe this. Physical intimacy feels safer, freer, and more playful because you build an emotional bridge to it. Desire for sex can come more easily when people don't feel like they're performing or like they owe somebody something. Okay. When we take away the pressure to perform, when we take away the pressure to provide, when we take away the transactional piece of like, I need you to fuck me so I feel loved, we change the game on how people are willing to approach it. This is a big one. And the last myth that we teach men is initiating is your job and rejection is personal. So we load men up with the pressure to initiate, to take the lead, to push past our nose in most movies, right? To be persistent and insistent. And then we shame them when they do it wrong, when they didn't read our mind, when they didn't know how to do it perfectly. And then it's no wonder that it feels like this high stakes, awkward, or exhausting game because if your partner says no, it feels like you're a failure, even if it was said with love, right? It feels like you didn't do your job properly or you were missing something. And so what happens is we either shut down and we stop initiating, or we push too hard and keep doing the same thing over and over and over again with the same result. Or we live in this confusing middle space where every attempt feels super risky. It's super loaded. It is the opposite of easy, light, fun, and flirty, which is what we're looking for, right? Just becomes this like supercharged mess. And so we need to stop thinking of initiation as a test and instead make it be or turn it into a trust building and a connection building practice, right? Because if every honest no brought you closer to a true yes, then it gives you both the chance to learn each other's timing and signals and rhythms, right? So when I'm pretending a yes when it isn't, I'm giving my partner false information about what is a good strategy. When I am honest about what's not working and I can be clear about what might or what I'd like to explore, I can give my partner accurate information. So he doesn't need to mind read. He can actually put the pieces together and figure it out so that initiating ultimately becomes easy and flirty and connected, right? What if initiation was something you designed together with an understanding of what relaxes you, what makes you feel present and connected, what makes you feel sexy, what makes you feel turned on, and what makes you feel turned off, right? The more I know those things, the more I give clear signals to my partner about what those things are, the more he can use those things to initiate successfully and properly hear my no when it's a no. Because the other piece here is the more I get to say no when I really mean it and have that heard, the more likely my body is to say yes because it feels safe to say that no. Oh, so much stuff we could dive into here. So juicy. What do we want to do with all of this, right? We've got we've barely even scratched the surface in terms of mindsets that are fucking with your bedroom, but I hope I've given you some food for thought here. What do we do with all this? I mean, a big piece is just even listening to this, naming it, and talking about it, right? We stop making it about each other and we start noticing the systems, the mindsets, the patterns that we're observed in. Or we stop making it about we stop making it about each other and we start noticing the systems we've absorbed, the messages that we've absorbed, the mindsets that we've absorbed, okay? We start to practice new scripts. We start to break out of the way we're thinking about it. We start to reframe. Okay, can I reframe initiation as I'm looking for information for how to proceed instead of I need to get this perfect all the time? Can I reframe giving myself permission to take as long as it fucking takes to orgasm instead of belittling myself for how long it takes in my brain? So much of this is a mind game, and it's why we practice it over the long term in my signature program, the Naked Fun Comeback. So much of this is tied to your mindset about sex, how you communicate with each other, how you work with your nervous system around sex, and what your relationship is to pleasure and sex overall. And that's what we work on together when I work with you. The truth is, most of our sex issues are not personal, they are systemic. But the exciting part about that is it means that they are changeable. So if this episode lit something up in you, I encourage you to share it with your partner and open a conversation about these pieces. What have you learned about sex from movies, from friends, from your parents, from the sex ed if you got any? And what of those stories are serving you? And what of them do you want to ditch or reframe? Okay. And if you want help on learning these beliefs and building something way more fun and way more connected, if you're needing a reset because you are stuck in this I ask and they avoid, then I want you to DM me on Instagram the words reconnection code, and I will get you the info for my new 30-day program for dads, all on how to like hit the reset button on their initiation and reconnect with their partner. Neither of you is broken. You are not failing. You are slowly waking up. I say this all the time. Before kids, you got away with mediocre sex skills and without having to investigate some of these assumptions that were guiding your sex life. And now that the game has changed, whether it's your body, whether it's your emotions, whether it's your identity, you can't skate by anymore on mediocre skills. We've got to up level. And you can do that. And the reason you're going to do it is because it's going to serve you now and it's going to serve you into your golden years. Thank you for listening. Remember to comment. Remember to let me know if you've got questions and share the podcast with friends. I will catch you next time.
This is the part where we do the end bit, right? My friends, let's take a mindfulness minute here. Take a deep breath in. Open that mouth and let out a big, deep, full body sigh. Voila. Your nervous system thanks you. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope that your head and your heart have something new to consider, something new to talk about, and something new to try. No husbands were harmed in the making of this podcast, and a big thank you to my husband for his help and original music composition. Love you, babe. This podcast was recorded on the traditional territories of the Kwanlin First Nation and Tonquachan Council in Whitehorse, Yukon. We acknowledge and are grateful to the original stewards of this land where we get to play, live, and raise our children. You can catch me on the Instagram at the Happy V Project for tips, tools, and anecdotes. And you can also join the weekly-ish newsletter for dispatches from my bedroom and my brain. Also, head to thehappyvaginaproject.com to learn more about how you can work with me. Catch you next time.